expect big moves from the franchise, but this fear feels different. There is a tension, there is rumors, there are contract battles, and now there is even trade speculation surrounding some of the biggest names on the roster. Let us start with the biggest story right now on George Pickens. Cowboys officially placed a franchise tag on the wide receiver George Pickens. This move grants him $27.3 million for the 2026 season. While that sounds like a massive amount of the money, it is actually below the market value for elite wide receiver in today's NFL. George Pickens is coming off a career year. He finished third in the National Football League with 1,429 receiving yards. That is elite production. Even more impressive, he will only be 25 years old when the 2026 season begins. That means he is just entering his prime. Top wide receiver in league are now earning close to $40 million per year on long-term contracts. Franchise tag gives Pickens only 1 year deal. There is no long-term security. There is no guaranteed future seasons for players that can feel risk. Most players do not like being franchise tagged. It limits their long-term earning potential and forces them to prove themselves again, even after a dominant season. Now, here is where things become interesting. Reports from the NFL insiders Don Paulin suggest that Cowboys could actually trade Pickens after placing the franchise tag on him. That sounds shocking at the first. Why tag a player just to trade him? However, we have seen this strategy before. In the 2022, the Green Bay Packers franchise tagged Davante Adams and then traded him at Las Vegas Raiders. It allowed the team to control the situation while still getting trade value. Could the Cowboys be planning something similar? Right now, there is no official indication that Pickens is available. In fact, the Cowboys may simply be using the tag as leverage in contract negotiation, but possibility of the trade cannot be ignored. Imagine this scenario. Cowboys decide they can afford to give Pickens a $40 million per year contract. They explore trade offers. A team desperate for the true number one wide receiver offers a first-round draft picks and additional assets. Suddenly, the Cowboys must make a decision about their long-term future. If George Pickens stays, he and CeeDee Lamb could form one of the most dangerous wide receiver duo in the entire NFL for years to come. That is the dream scenario for the Dallas fans. But the financial reality makes everything complicated. And George Pickens is not only major storyline. There is another name creating serious buzz across the league. Max Crosby of the Las Vegas Raiders. Reports indicate that Raiders are in full rebuilding mood. When teams rebuild, they often trade star players in exchange for the draft picks. Max Crosby is an all-pro pass rusher and one of the most respected defensive players in football. Even in what was considered a down year, Crosby recorded 10 sacks and earned a Pro Bowl selection. The season his production dipped slightly was simple. He was double-teamed constantly because he had very little help on the defense line. Now the question is simple. Which team makes the most sense for the Crosby? The Cowboys are now 7 teams. One of the 7 teams reported victory for the Max Crosby. Dallas already has a superstar pass rusher, Micah Parsons, who already gone from the Dallas Cowboys. Parsons was explosive and dominant as a pass rusher, but critics sometimes point out that he was not as strong against the run. Max Crosby is considered a more complete defensive end. He can rush a pass and set the egg against the run. Pairing Crosby with Williams would instantly create one of the most terrifying defensive fronts in the league. But there is a problem: salary cap space. After tagging George Pickens, Cowboys do not have much flexibility. They would need to restructure multiple contracts to afford Crosby's salary. That creates long-term financial risk. Other teams are also being discussed for the Max Crosby, including Chicago Bears, are reportedly aggressive. They are trying to rebuild a contender, and quickly. A move for Crosby would signal they are serious about competing immediately. Baltimore Ravens could also use pass rusher help, but they have financial concerns as well. Buffalo Bills are in the interesting situation. They still have quarterbacks like Josh Allen, but the team has not taken the next step forward, a championship. Some believe that adding Crosby could push them forward. Others believe they need to rebuild through the draft instead. The New England Patriots might be the most logical destination. They have cap space, they have strong defense. Adding Crosby could make them a true championship contender again. And also Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams are rumored the possibility. The Rams are particularly feel like a team whose championship window is open right now. Adding Crosby could immediately push them back into Super Bowl contention. So what does all this mean for the Cowboys? This offseason will define the next 5 years for the franchise. Do they commit long-term money to George Pickens? Do they risk major salary cap to restructuring the chance of the Max Crosby? Or do they stay patient and breathe through the draft? Cowboys are always one of the most talked about teams in the NFL. Owner Jerry Jones is known for bold moves. Fans expect drama, and right now, the drama is just beginning. One thing's certain: 2026 season could reshape the entire future of the Dallas Cowboys. And until contracts are signed and trades are finalized, every rumor will continue to grow louder. Dallas is at crossroads. Will they double down on star power, or will they take a more caution approach? Cowboys Nation is watching closely because what happened? The front office has created $66 million in salary cap space. This happened after restructuring Yes, welcome back to Dallas Cowboys news today. Cowboys are making serious moves after a disappointing season where they won only 7 games and finished third in the NFC East. The team is now preparing for a major comeback in the 2026. The front office has created $66 million in salary cap space. This happened after restructuring the contracts of the quarterback Dak Prescott, a wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, and guard Tyler Smith. That is a huge amount of the money, and when owner Jerry Jones says that the team plans is to spend more in free agents than ever before, you know something big is coming. Last season was frustrating for fans. The Cowboys had one of the most explosive offenses in the National Football League, but defense struggled badly. The team missed the playoffs. Expectations are much higher this year. If Dallas wants to compete for the championship, they must fix the defense. With this new financial flexibility, they have several blockbuster options. One possible move is trading for safety Minka Fitzpatrick from the Miami Dolphins. Fitzpatrick is the veteran who has proven himself at highest level. He recorded 59 tackles and 1 interception last season. Early in his career, he was selected to the Pro Bowl 3 times in a row. And even though he is 29 years old, carries a large contract and he could be available for the reasonable trade price. The Cowboys secondary needs leadership and experience. Fitzpatrick has played in multiple systems and understands complex defensive scheme. With installing a new system, having a smart veteran safety could make a big difference. When Fitzpatrick may not be in his absolute prime anymore, he can still contribute and help young players to grow. Another option is signing safety Lady Blankenship from the Philadelphia Eagles. Blankenship is only 26 years old and still improving. Last season he recorded 53 tackles and 1 interception. Just 1 year early, he had 4 interceptions. He also played an important role in Philadelphia's Super Bowl run. Blankenship would not only strengthen the secondary, but is already familiar with the Christian Parker coaching style. That familiarity could help the defense adjust faster. Taking a key player from the division rival would also send a strong message inside of the NFC East. Blankenship could be the smart long-term investment for the Dallas. If the Cowboys want to improve their pass rush, they could target edge rush beyond May from the City Hawk. Murphy has recorded 20 sacks over 4 seasons. While his sack numbers dipped slightly last year, his pressure rate was the best of his career. He's consistent, disrupt opposing quarterbacks. Murphy is still young and durable. In Texas, there is no state income tax, which can